You're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Man, oh man. In what has to be one of the dopest call-outs I have seen in a very long time, Demetrius Andrade goes off on Canelo Alvarez. He fires shots at the Charlo brothers. He fires shots at Edeslani Lara. But what he said about Canelo Alvarez takes the cake. It takes the cake. Because for one, it's irrefutable and it's straight to the point. So welcome to the coincidentalist, Demetrius Andrade. And shouts out to the Boxing Voice for capturing this great interview. I mean, this was like 4th of July, man. Straight fireworks on this interview. I'll go ahead and add the link into the description box so you guys can watch it. This is a must-see type of interview. All right? Shouts out to my man, Wingy Boxing, who's a part of my team, nationboxing.com, one of the best boxing writers out there. Check out his articles on the new website, nationboxing.com, okay? He was the one that actually shared the video on Facebook where I seen it. So shouts out to Wingy. Check out his YouTube channel. Has a great YouTube channel as well. So let's go ahead and get into this situation. Now, what Demetrius Andrade said about Canelo Alvarez, and I'm not going to quote every single thing he said, you know, but some of the key things that he said in this interview was straight to the point, man. Straight to the point. He said, Canelo, you are a bitch and scared to get into a fight. What the hell are you doing fighting James Kirkland, who hasn't had a fight in over a year or however long it's been, when you have a prime champion that's giving you an opportunity to basically fight for a title, right? I'm just giving you a piece of what he said. But obviously this makes so much sense, right? Now, like I said before, he also went on the attack talking about Edeslani Lara not being able to knock out Ishe Smith. He called the Charlo brothers a bunch of bums, right? But see, the difference from Canelo as opposed to the Charlo brothers, Demetrius Andrade, and even Edeslani Lara is those fighters in particular, they have been willing to fight any and everyone at the division, okay? Canelo Alvarez has been very selective with who he wants to fight. And this is the point that Demetrius Andrade was making, right? Now, of course, we know Canelo, he wanted Cotto, right? And because both of them, they wanted to be the A side, I believe. Cotto wanted to fight in Madison Square Garden. Of course, Canelo wanted it in either, Texas or, some area where he has a strong fan base, behind him. And the money and everything else. But that's really the only fight that Canelo wants. Outside of Cotto, Canelo Alvarez, he could prove that he is the best if he really wanted to, or if he really thought he was the best. This is the opportunity to prove it, right? You have a young American undefeated champion, and now we know you have a very charismatic, vocal, undefeated American champion. And as far as I'm concerned, as long as Demetrius Andrade keeps talking like this, hitting these cats with straight fireworks, we are going to hear a lot more about Demetrius Andrade. This is what you need to do to secure yourself a fight. Because Canelo Alvarez, I don't believe Canelo Alvarez is a flat-out coward. I believe Canelo Alvarez is the type of person, if you catch it, if you back him up into a corner, he'll come out swinging like he did against Edeslani Lara. And that's just an analogy because literally he didn't swing too much when they got into an actual fight. I mean, he only landed like probably 10 headshots throughout the whole damn fight. So what I mean when I say Canelo, he'll come out swinging if you back him into a corner, I mean if you put too much pressure on him, like Erislandy Lara did by jumping on the stage at Canelo Alvarez's post-press fight conference, and on top of that, have Mexican fans say, Canelo, how come you won't fight Lara? You're scared, you're this, you're that. That's enough to make Canelo say, you know what? You calling me a coward? My own people calling me that? Fuck it. Oscar De La Hoya, make the fight, right? So, you know, I would give Canelo credit for doing that against Lara. But the question is, will he remain to do that? Now you have another champion in your division calling you out. Are you going to take the challenge? You guys have to understand something. There is something seriously wrong with this picture. A champion is not supposed to be calling out the challenger. It is supposed to be the other way around, right? Canelo Alvarez has no excuse, no reason whatsoever to not fight against Demetrius Andrade, okay? And you know, as I talk about this, I think about this real serious, somewhat of a heated debate that I had with a guy from a major boxing website I'm not going to mention, but I remember this guy, he was basically, you know, discrediting everyone on a coincidental list. You know how that goes. And, you know, he was praising everyone who wasn't on a coincidental list. What a coincidence. He was talking about Canelo Alvarez, and he was saying, Canelo, you know, Canelo is the best at 154. And I was explaining to him, I was saying to him, this conversation was a minute ago, but I was saying, wait a minute, how is he the best at 154 when he lost to Erislandy Lara? I don't care what nobody say. He lost to Lara. On top of him losing to Lara, I told this guy, Canelo is not going to beat Demetrius Andrade. He won't beat him. There's no way he would beat Demetrius Andrade. And this guy just kept, kept praising Canelo. No, but he's the best. But he's the best. Why not? You know, so on and so forth. He's the best. You know, he kept saying this and kept defending the guy. And I kept saying if he was the best, he would beat the champions in his own division. Okay? Canelo Alvarez is not only a natural 154-pounder, but it can almost be argued he's a natural 160-pounder because the man doesn't even fight at 154 anymore. Every time he fights at a catch weight, right? So why wouldn't he fight against Demetrius Andrade? Because I truly believe that Canelo Alvarez, and not just Canelo Alvarez, mainly Oscar De La Hoya. I truly believe Oscar De La Hoya, he knows that Canelo is not good enough to go up against Demetrius Andrade. And as far as I'm concerned, that's almost sad when your promoter doesn't even have enough confidence in his own fighter. Okay? Now, one thing I give Oscar De La Hoya a lot of credit because usually he is very honest when it comes to opponents that he feels is a major threat. I mean, we heard Oscar De La Hoya. If it was Oscar De La Hoya, he admitted it. If it was up to Oscar De La Hoya, we would have never got to see Canelo against Austin Trout or Canelo against Erislandy Lara. Okay? In both of those fights, Oscar De La Hoya, he said, I don't like this matchup. Austin Trout is too dangerous. Erislandy Lara is too dangerous. So if Oscar said this about those fighters, I can imagine what he thinks about Demetrius Andrade. So now I want to talk about the coincidental list that Demetrius Andrade has just entered. Now, what was so interesting about all of this that Demetrius Andrade said, I want you guys to keep in mind, when it comes to Floyd Mayweather versus Manny Pacquiao doesn't even have to call out Floyd Mayweather, and everyone calls Floyd Mayweather the biggest chicken, the biggest coward, so on and so forth, right? Even if Floyd Mayweather calls up Manny Pacquiao, even if he walks over across a basketball court, even if he goes to his hotel room and he says, Manny, we need to make this fight. Even if Manny Pacquiao, which he just recently said, Floyd Mayweather, guys, he really wants this fight. He told me he really wants this fight, right? Even if we know all of that to be true, they still call him a coward. But what's so funny is when Demetrius Andrade basically says, Canelo, what you doing fighting Kirkland when I'm the champion? Here's your belt right here. Come and get it. When he says that, you know what the same fans who call Floyd Mayweather a coward and gay and all these other racial slurs? Now, you would naturally think after hearing this interview, if you're calling Floyd Mayweather a coward, you would naturally think, oh, they're about to call Canelo the biggest bitch and coward in the world. And I'm not saying he's a bitch, but I'm saying these type of fans who say this stuff about Floyd Mayweather, naturally you would expect them to say this about Canelo when you see what's going on. But you know what they said instead? You know who they point the finger at instead? The guy on the coincidental list, Demetrius Andrade, right? The real warrior in the division, the real man who has all the heart in the world and is willing to fight any and everyone, right? You blame it on the warrior who's calling out everyone. This is what the fans said. The fans started saying, Demetrius Andrade, he needs to stop crying. Canelo Alvarez, he can fight whoever he wants to. Demetrius Andrade, he should just worry about his mandatories and so on and so forth. Message after message after message. All of the attacks were towards Demetrius Andrade. What a hell of a coincidence, huh? What a hell of a coincidence. So let me get this straight. When it comes to Canelo, he could fight whoever he wants to. But when it comes to Mayweather, he's a coward if the Manny Pacquiao fight doesn't happen and he's ducking? Okay, I read you loud and clear. Trust me, I read you loud and clear because we know what time it is. We have Adrian Broner calling out Lucas Matisse, calling out Marcos Maidana, and they talk shit about Adrian Broner. We have Edislani Lara and Andre Ward calling out Gennady Golovkin, and they talk shit about Ward and Lara, right? We have Guillermo Rigo calling out everybody at 122, but they want to talk about Guillermo Rigo. We know what time it is, don't we? And for the people who don't know what time it is, I am going to always let you know. And what about the Al Heyman card that you fans, you ignorant fans out there love to pull? They love to pull the Al Heyman card, right? Leo Santa Cruz makes 10 million excuses why he doesn't want to fight against Guillermo Rigo. Oh, no, no, no. It's not his fault. It is only Al Heyman's fault, right? I could understand if they were saying, well, it has, a little bit to do with this, and that, and the other. But no, they say it is exclusively Al Heyman's fault. So if Canelo Alvarez doesn't want to fight against the champion in his own division, you can't blame that on Al Heyman, right? Who's promoting Canelo Alvarez? Who's advising Canelo Alvarez? It's not Al Heyman. It's not Al Heyman. So the same people who want to blame everything on Al Heyman when it comes to Oscar De La Hoya promoting a fighter or advising a fighter, you don't want to go ahead and say, oh, Oscar De La Hoya fucking up the sport. He's a cancer in the sport. He's trying to prevent fights from happening, so on and so forth. You don't say it then, right? But when it comes to the people on the coincidental list, then it's their fault. What's so funny about this whole situation is let these ignorant fans tell it. The same people, like I said, calling Floyd Mayweather a bitch, a coward, a chicken. Guillermo Rigo is boring. He should stay in Japan. Andre Ward is boring, and he should leave Golovkin alone and move up to a higher weight class. And the excuses go on and on and on. Al Heyman is the cancer to the sport. So what? He's making all the great fights now. But look what he did a year ago. I don't care what he does now. I'm going to only focus on what he did last year, what he did 2 years ago, what he did 3 years ago. Well, if that's the case, let's focus on what Oscar De La Hoya said 2 years ago. Let's focus on what let's focus on what Bob Arum said 3 weeks ago. Right? I mean, if we're not forgiving and we're not forgetting, let's be real about this shit and call everybody's bullshit. Anyway, I'll close out with this. Demetrius Andrade is doing exactly what he needs to do. If they won't let your ass in, you kick the damn door down, okay? And that's what he's doing right now. He keeping that pressure. He is at Canelo's throat right now. And eventually, Canelo, he gonna have to shit or get off the pot. I read a headline of someone's article the other day, and they were basically saying that Demetrius Andrade, I understand his frustration basically, but he's getting too personal. He shouldn't go this personal by calling Canelo, a bitch and so on and so forth. I respectfully disagree. This is how you're going to get these guys in the ring, okay? Erislandy Lara did not get a fight with Canelo by just sitting on his ass saying, well, I hope Canelo fights me one day. No, he kicked the damn door down, got on that stage and said, what's the damn hold up, Canelo? You talking about you the best, you this, you that? Let's do it, right? And this is exactly what Demetrius Andrade is doing. This is exactly what he needs to continue doing to make the big fights happen. And if it wasn't for this damn world being so damn racist, people would be praising Demetrius Andrade right now, and they would be talking about Canelo Alvarez like they talk about other people on the coincidental list. I'm on to the next one.